Hi, welcome to my second podcast. For those of you who have just come across this one and haven't seen the first one, I'm Judy Lockwoodera and I blog at patchworktimes.com. The podcasts are just chit chat about what we do at our little hobby farm in Central Texas or about my knitting, maybe about what I'm cooking, but nothing that's going to really change your world. But hopefully, if you're a knitter or if you are into homesteading a little bit, that maybe something that we do around here might interest you. But today I'm going to talk about some yarn that arrived that made me really happy. I don't know if I mentioned the Nelchina cardigan the last time, but this is a pattern that I had ordered yarn to make, and the yarn arrived. And this is the yarn that will be, it's all Madeline Tosh DK. This is the yarn that I will use mostly for the body, the sweater, and the sleeves. This is called the Fox, and this was an Eat Sleep Knit exclusive color for a while. Hi, Vince. And this one is glazed pecan. And then I could not decide between the thyme and the porcelain for the background color. But now that the yarn has arrived, I think it's going to be the porcelain for the background color. And I also think that I might take out the fox and use these three colors, these four colors. I can count. So what do you think? Do you think this is combination number one that has, can I pick them all up? These three, or combination number two that has these four colors? I think that the fox is a little too bright. I think this. But y'all can tell me what you think, because y'all love to tell me what you think. And then another project that I've already shown here is the Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Mowry. And she uses the aqua at the top, and at the bottom she has gray. And what happens is whatever you have at the bottom for the bottom band comes around the bottom all the way up from like where button bands would be, and then goes around the collar. So these are the colors that I was going to use. And this is Madeline Tosh Farm Twist, which is also a DK weight. And this is going to be my bottom around the button band, but since it's also going to come all the way up, it's going to be next to this. And sometimes when using super dark colors next to light colors, you get some, I don't think it's fading, I think it's more excess dye just releasing. So it's kind of scary to put these two together. So if it was just these three, I wouldn't worry about it, because there's plenty of green in the Jaded Dreams, and there's enough green in the Patagonia that I would not be concerned. But with these two together, I am concerned. So what I did, I just took the skein apart, left all the strings that are actually keeping the hank together, left all those in there, and I soaked this. Last night I soaked this, and then I hung it. Well, I'll tell you the whole process. Soaking it, I like to use soak, which is actually a wool wash, and you don't have to rinse it out, and just a couple of drops will do. And I'll just put the soak in a tub of water. You don't even have to swish it around, it just dissolves instantly. And then the water needs to be like at room temp, not too hot, not too cold. And put your yarn down in there and just mash it down. You also do the same procedure if you have a finished garment that you're soaking to block. And once it has soaked maybe 15 minutes, just take it. You never want to wring out, you never want to twist and wring your garment or your yarn. So you just start squeezing at the top. I just squeeze down, to the bottom. And then I took this, and you try not to get it tangled up, which looks like I may. And I hung it over a clothes hanger in the shower and just left it there. And it's still not dry. We don't have the air or the heat on right now, so it takes things a little longer to dry. But if that were a finished product, like a sweater or a scarf, then I would just, once I squeeze the excess water out, then I put a towel down on the floor and roll it up in that towel and step on it to get the excess water out. And then I hang it up to dry. Or if it's a sweater, I lay it flat. Lay it out, shape it. Like if you have some waist shaping, you can kind of squish it in at the waist and kind of flare it out around the hips. Do whatever. You don't want to stretch it out because it's going to stay whatever you do with it. And then pin it in that shape to let it dry. If you're making a shawl, you would take these little points and pull them down and pin them, and that's what helps them to dry in that shape. And we'll just segue right into that. But this is the Anna's shawl that I've been working on that I finished. And see, you can see, there's how you can see it. See those little, right down here in this area, there are some things they call noops or nups or something like that. You can kind of see them. And they don't really show up unless, I mean, I can see them, but they're not picking up on the video. But this is a nice little lightweight scarf, shawlette, something like that. And it would be great to wear in early spring or late fall. And it was quick to make. It this is Malabrigo lace yarn. The color is Azul Profundo. And I think that this used 36 grams of yarn. I think it was 320 yards. And I made it deeper. I need to qualify for the badge at Each Sleep Knit. I needed to use a minimum of 300 yards. And I wasn't sure that this pattern, I read the comments, and some people had used like 260 yards, and some had said they used 340 yards. So what I did was, once I finished the lace section, I made about 20 short rows where I just increased the depth, because without having done that, it would probably have been, from looking at the pattern, maybe like this thick, this deep, where mine is this deep. So anyway, it's a good little shawl. It was just a lot of knitting, and you can, with the yarn being so thin, you can see where the bottom row, the bottom area where I did the short rows, and then you can also see up through here where I did the shaping. In a sock yarn or something, that wouldn't have shown so much. But anyway, that's done. That's a finished project. And then whenever I did the first podcast, I had this little hat sitting behind me, and I was going to talk about it. Well, I did talk about it, but then the first video, I had way too much background. So I redid the video, re-recorded it, and took some of that, kind of brought it in closer. But then that second video is when Rita started having her nightmare and making crazy sounds, and so I had to redo it. And then I totally forgot about mentioning my little hat. But this is called, the Perky Little Hat is the pattern, and the yarn is Malabrigo Rasta, and it's either a bulky or a super bulky weight. And this hat took me less than 2 hours to make, start to finish. And it's not crunchy, it's very soft. It'd be a very comfortable hat to wear, and it has to be very warm, even with the open work around the sides. And I have a friend in Louisiana who's been my friend for a very long time, and I love her. And she wants to learn to knit hats, and I haven't talked to her in a month or so, so by now she may have already learned to knit hats. She and her husband do a lot of volunteer work and feed people who are needy and things like that. And they work through Abraham's Tent in Lake Charles. And they may have a clothing bank or something there, because she wanted to donate hats. And so I'm going to send this hat to her to go with any hats that she makes. And if she hasn't learned to make hats by the time I'm there again, I'll sit down with her and we will learn to make hats, and we will not drink wine until we have learned to make hats. So another thing I want to show you was this artichoke. Vince had gone to the grocery store the other day, and he came back with these huge artichokes, and they were so good. There's so much meat on these things. You can get meat all the way up to the very end of the leaves. This one weighs 1 pound, 5 ounces. And so we were in the grocery store today, and I said, they have those big artichokes again, so we got some more of them. And I don't think we're going to have it tonight, but we're going to have it probably tomorrow night. Another thing, speaking of not knitting related items, I thought there was something else I was going to show you. I've been wanting a hamburger, and the local health food store, we're on the keto diet, and the local health food store had some hamburger buns that she said were okay for dirty keto. There's clean keto and dirty keto, and I'm not even sure I know the difference. But so I was going to go by and get some of those today, and then Vince said, why don't we just have a hamburger without the buns? So we'll just have a hamburger meat, a piece of cheese, and some lettuce and tomato, and I don't know if we'll put mustard and mayonnaise on them. But anyway, so we're going to have hamburgers without the buns, and which is fine with me. That'll probably cure my desire for a hamburger. But anyway, so I think that was really all that I had to share today, was the yarn that you have to vote on for my Nelchina. And if you just think that really none of these colors are right and I need to change out like this one for a lavender, you can tell me what you think. I'm not sure what I'll do, but I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of DK weight yarn in my stash, and so I'm not sure that I will order more yarn, but I really think this is a good combination. Don't you think that this one's just too bright? That's what I think. I think it just is way too bright, but I do like it, just not with this project. So anyway, I think that is all that I had to say today, and I do not know what day I'll be back. I think I have a trip next week, but that hasn't been written in stone yet, so maybe the next time I podcast, I may be podcasting from Missouri. We'll see. So thanks for watching, and I will get show notes up within an hour or so of posting the video. I appreciate you spending time with me. Thank you.